Welcome to the 3am podcast. My name is DJ.
My name is Sean.
We have Tristan in the studio with us tonight. And Charles is in Florida. He's tuning in the chat, but he will be back soon. Cannot tell you when, but
it'll be a surprise.
But
for
soon
everybody.
enough. We have a lot to talk about that we will hold off on until Charles joins back up. A lot of it having to do with Sean going out to Florida.
Spooky stuff that happened whilst in Florida.
Which only happened because he had another trip that the airlines canceled on him. So
sick.
He rearranged his schedule and drove up to see Charles, and they went and did some ghost hunting.
Yeah, we're regular ghost hunters now.
Yeah, and somebody just gifted us an EMF reader. Which if you're just listening to the podcast and you want to send us stuff, send us more things to put us on the defense. Because we get enough like
evil
grimoires.
Yeah,
we've gotten creepy dolls.
We have no crosses, no holy water.
Yeah,
no consecrated oils. No, what else do you protect yourself with? Silver bullets. I don't know, dude.
Wooden stakes.
Salt. Yeah. If you do send us salt, send us real salt, the brand, because that's IFs with real salt.
I do have a Hawaiian salt, which is good for, I guess, the Hawaiian ghosts here, you know. Speaking of crazy artifacts, so I posted this maybe like 2 months ago. It's my mother's birthday. Her and my dad flying to Utah. They're in town. We go to dinner. We go to arguably the best restaurant in Utah Valley, in my opinion. Have you been to Communal?
No.
Delicious. Great restaurant. If you're in the area, check it out. But we go to Communal, very intimate, dimly lit setting. The bar is right there and the chefs are doing their thing right there. And we sit down and there's a couple right next to me and looks like they're finishing up their dinner. We're just doing our own thing. And I'm on like the bench side and the couple is literally like on my right, very close to me. And we're there about like 45 minutes and the couple's still there. They had ordered like a few desserts and they're trying the different desserts. And like 45 minutes in, my brother leans over to me and he shows me his phone and his TikTok. And on it is Reid Moon, which I told my brothers about and they had followed him on social media. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, that's Reid Moon. I'm like having a conversation with my parents. I'm like, Bubba's like showing me. Bubba's a man of few words, my brother Bubba. And he's showing me. I was like, yeah, Reid Moon. What about it? And he's just like, he doesn't really say anything. He's just like showing it to me. And he keeps like insisting me to like watch it. So like I watch it. And then he like just kind of like mumbles, which is pretty normal for him. But he mumbles like, and he's like motioning over and he's like pointing with his eyes, right? And I look at the man who was sitting right next to me the whole time is Reid Moon himself.
What?
And I didn't notice the whole time. I'm minding my own business. They're right next to me. So I like we're doing our own thing. They're doing their own thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like a little starstruck and I look at him. Sure enough, it is Reid Moon. And I've always told myself that when I see like reputable people, whether it's celebrities, I don't know, whatever, like I've seen a couple and like I don't want to bother them. I don't want to fangirl. I just want them to live their normal life. But this time I caved. This man was sitting right next to me, dude.
It was meant to be.
It was, yeah. He was right there. So I was like, I'm so sorry to bother. I just want to say real quick. I say, I'm so sorry that I'm bothering. Are you Reid Moon? And he says, I am. And I said, I just want to say real quick that I'm a big fan. I run a local scary stories podcast named 3am, and we did a whole episode about you, and we love what you do, and that's it. And then his wife is with him. I felt bad because she was like, whenever people talk to him, all he wants to do is talk. So this is good. But I felt bad for her because I felt like I was stealing him away from her. So I that's all I wanted to say and then let them be. Mm-hmm. And then he just started talking to me. And this man just he's so interesting. He's all over. He was like, yeah, I was just in Japan last week. And I was like, oh, I was in Japan last week too. We were talking about that. And he was like, yeah, I was buying Did we talk about this?
No,
Okay,
I have
good.
not heard about this.
Okay, good. He said I was acquiring. Of course, it wasn't just for funsies. This
was
dude
acquiring.
is treasure hunting, right?
Yeah.
So he says I was acquiring this traditional senpuku kit. Tristan served his LDS mission in Japan. What's senpuku?
Dude, I am drawing a blank.
I
Fill me in.
guess Tristan didn't serve a mission then. But senpuku is like the honorable way of offing yourself
Okay,
as like
okay.
like samurais did it, right?
Sure.
So it's like he said, I got this like couple 100-year-old box that came complete with the blades and like the scrolls. The scrolls had the instructions with like calligraphy on how to perform it and the cloths and everything.
What
So it's like from what I've gathered from all my movies and anime watching,
You're an expert.
they stab themselves in the stomach, right?
Yeah. What, is there anything after that? Like,
Their friend or whoever, commander, I don't know, helps them out by finishing the rest off by lopping their head. So that was like an honorable way to go. I don't know.
questionable.
That's my educational go at senpuku. But he was like, yeah, I was just acquiring like a traditional senpuku kit.
Casual.
Yeah.
Yeah, very casual.
And he was like, also, I just bought the very first edition of One Piece, the manga. And then my brother baby is like freaking out because One Piece is his favorite anime of all time. And Reid Moon, it's just so funny. Like this dude, like just a big nerd, but I'm all for it. You know, like he was like, look, and then he like pulled his jacket to the side, and he had like a One Piece shirt.
That's so
He
sick.
had like the logo on his chest.
Dang.
He's like, yeah, so I was in Japan last week, flying to Hawaii tomorrow to see my son and look at some other pieces down there. Then I'm going to be in like Guatemala the week after. Then I'll be in the UK the week after that. It's like,
Bruh.
this man just like literally travels the world and like
Acquires.
treasure hunts. It's so crazy, dude. And then a few weeks later, I posted on our story because my friend sent in our group chat, spotted Reid Moon carrying a huge wooden chest in the parking lot.
that, bro.
And I posted, I was like, what do you guys think he's carrying in that case, dude? Crazy.
Most popular answer, the Ark of the Covenant.
Honestly.
We have no idea.
What a life. What a crazy life.
He's what I want to be when I grow up.
That's crazy that he's traveling so much.
I know.
Yeah, it's like
That's like all over the globe in
less than a
couple
month.
weeks. Yeah.
What the?
What's that Jackie Chan movie?
Jackie, which one?
Around the World in 90
80
90
days.
days. 80 days.
80
Yeah.
days?
Something like that.
Something, yeah.
What
Yeah.
I never saw that. What does he do?
He goes around the world in
Isn't
80
he like
days.
a hot air
Is that
balloon?
it?
So
Does he have like a big camera hanging around his neck the whole time? Stops at all the national parks.
basically,
Yeah, so that was
that's Reid Moon.
I forgot how we got to that, but that was
Local
my
news.
Oh, a crazy part was I was talking to him when I told him I was like, I run a local podcast, 3 a.m. We did an episode about you. And he says, I know. What? Yeah, dude. So it's like he saw me there but didn't say anything. I don't know. He was probably really starstruck with me there. And I had the balls to
He's
say
like,
to
"It's
speak
DJ."
up. Yeah.
So that means you've been recognized again, but this is an extra layer of recognized by someone famous.
Yeah, and so it continues, you know, the run-ins of our listeners in public, and I mean that's an experience still just exclusive to me and Sean, but
Yeah.
you got to let us know when you run into any listener if you haven't already.
Yeah, if Charles runs into anybody in Florida,
Somebody
that's-
sees
yeah.
you.
I don't know that people would recognize me, but
I don't know. People recognize Kevin without even like seeing his face.
they recognize
Just
the
his
laugh.
laugh.
just the laugh.
Yeah, Charles is in chat right now, mad, big mad. Sean, what you been up to
Oh, let's see
that we can share?
that we can
right
share.
now?
Well, let me just say the reason I was in Florida is I had a trip planned to Colombia. That was canceled because cheap flights sometimes are canceled on you.
Was it one of those like open jaws,
Open jaws?
like the open jaw flights?
I don't know. What
Never mind,
open
never
jaw
mind.
is. But it was like on like a airline I'd never flown before. I'm not going to dox them because maybe they are actually good and I was on a bad flight. But Cheap flights got canceled, stuck in Florida for a week. And so we'll tell what happened there when Charles is on.
Yeah.
But other than that, not much for me. Same old, same old. I wish I could say I'd seen Reid Moon, but I haven't.
You went to FitCon though.
Oh, yeah, I did go to FitCon.
How was that?
Oh, that was fun. Oh, let me tell you, bro. I did not expect this to be at FitCon, but I walk in and I'm just drawn to one of the corners of this giant arena. And I get there, and in the corner of this arena, it says Armored Combat. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I see this ring or this like fenced off area. So I go and just like post up. Nothing's happening. But then the announcers start going off. They're like, this is the national championships for Armored Combat. And your local Salt Lake City team is up next. I'm like, what?
You made it for, you made it for the home field.
Made it for the home field. I kind of left to explore a little bit and then came back for the actual final, bro. And that was wild.
What is the combat?
Armored Combat is these guys who are just full armored suits.
LARPing
publicly. And they're
the national championship.
Full on like metal weapons, axes, probably not sharp. But like I saw some actual wounding happen. I don't know if I'm allowed to share much on here, but this dude gets just smashed in the head with an axe. He's got a full-on helmet. But then
tight,
all of
dude.
a sudden they pause the event because his face is bleeding.
Oh,
They pull off the helmet, and it wasn't sharp, but it was a blunt force that bent the helmet in and just gashed his forehead.
I love it.
Bro, it was for real.
Honestly, we got to bring that kind of stuff
I saw
back.
like this one dude just get leveled by someone going full, like just 40 miles an hour at this dude in full armor. Bro, it was actually kind of dope.
All those movies where like the 1% in power, the billionaires of the world, like buy an island and throw a bunch of innocent people there to fight, dude. I get it. It sounds so fun, dude.
Just see what happens.
Just modern day gladiators.
I
Are you
might
not
also
entertained?
volunteer for that.
Yes, dude. We need to bring it back.
Yeah, it was highly entertaining.
That's
though.
sick. One of my dreams is to attend Wrestlemania. I so badly want to go to Wrestlemania. I grew up on WWF.
Oh, sick,
And I think
dude.
it's safe to say everyone in Hawaii did. For whatever reason, people in Hawaii just love to fight. Love fighting. Everybody watched WWF like it was normal. And then UFC became the thing in the 2000s, and everybody in Hawaii like tunes into UFC.
Yeah.
Not too many people do here.
I would say it's fewer for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's been a long time since I've like been up to date on it. Like it was only like until I moved away that I like stopped watching it. But yeah, all growing up, it was the best. But recently I found out that WrestleMania this year was in New Orleans. It was like in February. And while I was working, I had it on playing in the background. It was like 4 hours straight.
Jeez.
And they brought in literally everybody famous from WWF. And in the ring, there was like Hulk Hogan, John Cena.
You saw him?
Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock,
Damn.
and The Undertaker.
Okay, who was your favorite wrestler though, growing up?
My favorite wrestler, I did love Booker T.
Booker T, bro.
I think it was Booker T. And he had his signature move was the spinaroonie. And he would like do this like windmill flare kind of thing. It's easy to love. Rey Mysterio.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
The acrobatic luchador
Yeah.
just flies around. Who else? Undertaker is classic, and
Classic.
Kane, I think.
Kane, yeah.
Yeah, with like the black and red mask.
Yeah, dude.
Hell in a Cell from the top rope. Yeah, dude.
Can't go wrong with a little the cream always rises to the top.
Yeah, they're all classic. I used to play them on like I used to play WWF or whatever on N64 and PlayStation. It was just that's my dream.
In another corner of FitCon, there was a ring for like that kind of wrestling too.
Hell yeah.
There was like matches going the whole time I was there.
Hell yeah.
It was actually super entertaining. I wasn't expecting that.
Every once in a while on my feed, I get, I don't know why I just don't follow them already, but I'll get like this WWE, but for little people. And they all like introduce themselves all the time, and they have like the craziest names. You've seen them? They're crazy.
Yes.
It's so funny, dude. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I hope they're thriving. I hope they're happy.
They have to be, dude.
Yeah.
Have to be.
I feel like nobody else would want to go to WrestleMania with me.
I'd
Anybody?
be down, dude.
Sean,
I'd say yes
I would
to
do
anything
it.
once.
bless.
I would do it.
Bonesaw is ready.
Bonesaw. Bro, have you seen the movie The Legend of Baron Toa?
What's that?
I recently watched this, and it's a Prime Amazon Prime movie of a New Zealander like wrestler, like WWF, who's passed away, and his son is like coming back home to like not take over his legacy, but like deal with the family affairs at home, and it's super entertaining. You have to watch it. The Legend of Baron Toa.
I should. Wait, it's based on a true story?
I don't think so, actually.
Okay.
This is just fiction.
What's crazy is WWF or WWE blood or WWE runs in my blood.
Ooh.
So my great uncle was in the WWF like in the 70s.
Dang.
Yeah. And you can look him up. His name was Curtis the Bull Iauka. So he was a villain. And he was like the Polynesian Andre the Giant before Andre the Giant.
Dang.
Yeah.
Curtis the Bull.
Yeah, Curtis the Bull Iauka.
Bro.
Yeah, and then my cousin is The Rock. Charles says in the chat. I took that from him. Did y'all hear that porn is no longer in Utah?
What? I mean, I've been in Florida, so I have no idea.
I know you found out. I know you found out the hard way.
I thought my internet wasn't working.
So I don't know the exact details, but I've been seeing it all over Twitter and Reddit, especially the Salt Lake City subreddit, and all the memes about it. But Utah passed a bill that in order to view porn in Utah, you have to upload a picture of your ID and like register.
It's gonna be no for me, dog.
Sketchy.
Like intrusive, dude.
Just like your driver's license?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you got to upload that. See,
Just put that
my man's
out.
mad over here.
I'm just thinking you're just gonna take a picture and put it out there.
I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You can't just anonymously view porn anymore. It's like,
But all the memes are all about how like, 2 days after no porn in Utah, like we're a utopian society. Divorce rates have gone down. Church attendance is going up. Like everybody is just living on this higher plane of existence now that porn websites are all blocked. So
where there's a will, there's a way. I mean, what you said.
yeah. Would you go to Coachella?
I've thought about it. I almost went that one time. And then for some reason, like it was so slow with everyone just getting on, my ticket wasn't purchased. Because we tried to buy like the day it opened or something. Can't remember what happened. But I'm also kind of like a one day kind of person to go to like a music festival versus a whole. Yeah.
Are you a concert dude? Live music guy?
I mean, I've only been to one.
You only been to one concert?
Yeah.
Which one?
Remember, I told you I got
which one?
Dragged with my wife to that.
Oh, to BTS. Yes. BTS.
That's the only concert I've been to. I'm sorry.
Did I know that already? Did you say that was the only one you went? Maybe you already did, but
I think we talked about it.
We talked a lot that one night.
That night,
we did a deep music dive. Tristan showed me like these. He might have put a curse on me.
The
with
Hmong?
the Hmong singing for like 3 hours in the mountains. This lady just like doing this Hmong chant, and I was like, "This is the sauce right here. This is kind of stuff that like
got lost in it, bro."
Hip hop producers will like try to sample like easily.
Well, DJ was like, "What's some like good Hmong music?" I'm like, "Dude, all I know is like what my grandma throws on YouTube, and it's just like a lady singing." And DJ's like, "Oh, this is amazing." I'm like, "Really?" Like,
yeah.
Really?
He didn't believe me, but I love that kind of shit. I'm super about it.
My Spotify Wrapped, because that matters, said that I'd listen to like 250
it really does. You know how many people I
Dang.
judge based on their Spotify Wrapped? You listen to
All the
250
people.
genres?
That's what it said, yeah.
Which is funny though, because I swear they're just making up genres.
They have to, because Stomp and Holler.
When you say Stomp and Holler, I think of Ho,
Mumford and Sons. Guaranteed that's what that was.
Okay.
Stompin' Hollow.
Yeah, there's some crazy genres on there, and I'm like, dude, some intern made this.
Bro, you know what genre I've been...
There's no way that like this Funyun rock and roll like dildo genre like
100%
exists. That's not a thing. Like,
bro, look it up. It's a thing.
What's been on your rotation recently, music wise?
Dude, I have not been listening to a lot of music.
What kind of media have you been consuming then, if you do?
Started over the 3 a.m. podcast. I told you I wake up when I'm driving to work early in the morning. I just throw on another episode.
What other podcasts do you listen to? Do you listen to any others?
Let's see. I mean, shout out to Charlie, but really just like Joe Rogan and you guys.
Yeah.
Damn, we're in the same breath as Joe Rogan, dude.
Well, like my commute to work isn't even that long anymore. So
yeah.
And then when I'm like at the gym, just like classic rock.
Yeah.
Good workout.
Classic
music.
rock, like who?
Just like AC/DC,
Like Lead. Oh, okay.
Def Leppard.
Nice.
My dad listened to Oingo Boingo.
Oingo Boingo.
So I got some of that. It doesn't go as hard though. It's
yeah.
Danny Elfman's got a different vibe, but you know.
Is Danny Elfman Oingo Boingo?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with classic rock at all.
I'd say like I just know what's on the workout playlist,
whatever I played on Guitar Hero 3.
See, because and that's just something I wish I was more attuned to, like classic rock, because that's what everybody grew up on here. Back home it was just like reggae and traditional Hawaiian music, which I love, but like it wasn't until my 20s started going to college, like did I start really learning about some of these big people like AC/DC. Like I knew the names. Mm-hmm. I've heard like some of the big songs.
You didn't grow up.
But I didn't grow up listening to it. I couldn't name you like really, or like let alone sing along like Hey Jude from the Beatles.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's been like fascinating. I have like a long list of like legendary bands that every once in a while I'll like listen to all their discography. So the Beatles is one of them. David Bowie was another one. I love David
Classics.
Bowie now. I got into like some more kind of like thrash, like Anthrax, Black Flag. I listened to as well. But yeah, there's way more that I need to like dig into, like Beach Boys. I love Simon and Garfunkel. Classic. I know those all are classic rock. Bro. Queen is somebody I haven't really listened to either.
So many
like,
bangers.
Music,
Queen's got some good ones.
My music, I got really into music in middle school. Mm-hmm. And then everything from then on, I feel like I was able to get it. So I feel like very competent when it comes to anything in 2000s and newer.
Yeah.
But things that predate me, I'm not as savvy with.
See, like,
unfortunately.
I feel that, but for a different reason. Because growing up until like the mid 2000s, my musical taste was highly influenced by my family. So we're talking hymns, Christian rock.
Not even like
I can only imagine.
Well, DJ, weren't you saying in Hawaii a lot of the music was like covers of like songs from
the biggest
like the mainland, and so they were shocked when it was like,
yeah, dude, Somewhere Over the Rainbow is the biggest example, dude. Like all these Hawaiian artists covered songs, so I grew up listening to these covers thinking they were originals, thinking that these Hawaiian singers were just like masters of their craft. Like turns out they're all just
cover artists,
blatant ripoffs. No, yeah, but Guitar Hero, Tony Hawk really got me into rock music. I mean, like that was the intro. That's when I learned about Rage Against the Machines and Talking Heads. A lot of like 80s rock, Santana and things like that. So I'm still not super savvy, but yeah, video games and media like got me. I blame media for like my obsession with a lot of like the arts. But yeah, and then the Tony Hawk or Guitar Hero.
Oh yeah,
as well. I feel like Guitar Hero did that thing for like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Ooh, Barracuda. You know?
It's true.
Cliffs of Dover. And
Cliffs
it's like,
of Dover.
Yeah. So fun.
Yeah.
That's dope though. Like in some way or another. Mine was just Christian rock. So.
You started with Christian rock, then country.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of my immediate family listens to Christian rock and country still. But yes, I could name and sing along with a lot of Christian rock that was in the early 2000s, late 90s.
You know what's funny? We probably all grew up singing in the choir, at least to some capacity.
Yeah.
A church choir.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I think every Mormon has.
Yeah.
At some point.
I'd say maybe even Christian. Like if you went to church growing up, like at one point or another, I feel like you probably sang with a choir.
Oh, yeah.
Went to choir practice, sang in the Christmas program.
Yep.
You know?
All of the above.
Did they do that in elementary school and middle school? Like,
What's up?
Did you guys have to? Well, I don't know, Sean.
Yeah, in elementary school and high school.
But like in elementary school, I feel like every year I had to sing in some choir. And then like in middle school, I had to take like 7th and 8th grade boys choir or whatever.
Oh, one thing that was common in Hawaii is May Day. So May Day in Hawaii is basically our version of, this is probably a terrible parallel, but midsummer.
Oh, whoa, dude.
Not the crazy midsummer, but just like the
more mild midsummer.
the festival, the floral, like
okay.
it's. But for spring, like we're getting into spring and we're celebrating just the like there's seasons in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's the same weather all year round. But just the feeling of spring from the long winter.
Tough winter in Hawaii.
yeah. But May Day every year, every school does this. But we have there's like May Day parades, but every school has like May Day, and every grade learns like a hula, a traditional hula, and so the song and the dance. And every grade performs, and 6th grade is the May Day court. In the May Day court, like everybody votes in 6th grade. So there's like the May Day king and queen. It's basically like prom king and queen, and then you have there's different. Oh, this is crazy. I've never talked about this. Everybody has a job or assignment. So all 8 islands are represented somehow. And there's like representing the island of Kauai or the island of Maui, and you were paired up with somebody. And they had like the king and queen of Maui, and then they had like the prince and princess of Maui. And then there were like the kahili bears. And kahili is like this, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like this ornate staff with like feathers at the top to like, they were kind of like the bearers for the court, kind of. Another stupid parallel I think of it is like the flower girls. Anybody listening who's from Hawaii or is familiar with this is probably laughing at my ass right now. Anyway, this is all I'm rambling, so please just stop me, honestly. We did our version of LARPing.
Hell yeah.
Full circle here. We did our version of LARPing and dressed as like the ancient elite or kings and queens and danced and sang as they did. Yeah. So we wore flower lays and it was a joyous occasion. And in 6th grade, I got paired up with my crush, my absolute crush. And I was so stoked about it. I was over the moon about it. I did my hair with gel. And I made it like in sync where I had like the bangs that like circled my forehead. Like a nerd, dude. Like a big nerd.
There's got to be a picture out there, right? We got to find that picture.
It's out there. I can find it for sure. I know the exact picture. I can find it.
And we'll post it.
Yeah, that'll be posted.
Yep. It's kind of incriminating, but I don't care. I've told so many things on this podcast.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that like my girlfriend at the time and my mom like held me, my bare self mid-COVID.
Oh yeah. I was like
my mom helped me pee in the trash can.
I thought you were talking about.
And my girlfriend had her hands on my ass in front of my mom, like, and I'm dying. So it's like, I don't think there's anything.
Yeah, bangs aren't your worst problem.
Yeah.
Gelled bangs are totally fine.
Yeah. Plus, it's 6th grade. You know,
Yeah.
Everybody.
We all went through that phase.
Everybody was ugly.
Everyone had gel bangs at one point.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Should we get
Anything
into
else?
it?
Let's
No?
get into stories. Now we roll our 20-sided die to see who goes first. 13. 14, you bastard.
Let's go.
Sean goes first. I'll finish.
So I'm going to start us off today with a listener submission. And as I was like looking for stories from listeners and such for this episode, I was inspired by the lovely weather that we're having and wanted to get outside, go hiking, and find super scary situations outside, which starts off at summer camp for one of our listeners.
Cool.
So this story comes from Connor, who is out of New Mexico. He says that this story actually takes place back in 2010 when he was 13 years old. His church was having a summer camp somewhere up in the mountains of Southern California. And he was super excited, going with all of his friends, going to have tons of like summer activities, and not much to say beyond that. Just super excited to be going. As kids do, they start like telling scary stories around campfires or once it gets late. And one of the kids, I wonder if he says his name so I can dox him. Oh, yes, he does. Okay, so we'll get to that. But anyways, Connor says he wasn't like super popular. He said popular to the time period. He had that Justin Bieber haircut and he was a little short, little round. I can relate from my younger years, so I get that. One of the older kids, whose name was Brandon, was like, I can actually hypnotize people and get them to do what I want.
Nice.
This is coming late at night, so they all go out into the field here at camp.
Everyone just agrees.
Weird flex, but we'll take it.
I imagine they were already telling stories out here, but now he's like, you know what? I can hypnotize people and get them to do what I want. Connor's like, nah, bro. We all called BS. Like nobody believed him. But then Jessie, the most popular, attractive girl in the group, offered to volunteer first. So she's like, okay. And so Brandon then gives her kind of the instructions of what she's supposed to do. He says, now I want you to relax completely. Let your mind go. Clear your head of all your thoughts except for my voice. Now you're going to start to count slowly through the alphabet, starting at A, then B, then C, until you reach Z. Jessie nodded her head, and while she's laying there, she began to count A, B, C, D, E, E, E. Everyone in the group started looking at each other, like wondering what was going on. And Brandon just says she's ready.
Oh, I didn't see that coming.
And all of a sudden he says, Jessie, stand up. She stood up with her eyes barely open, kind of hunched over, like how you would imagine maybe a zombie would stand. And he's like, Jessie, you will now do whatever I say. Nod your head if you understand. She nodded her head in kind of this slumped form. He said, do a squat. She squatted. Run over here. She ran over to where he was. Do 5 push-ups. And Connor said she got down and struggled to do 5 push-ups. But after that, he said, Jessie, on the count of 3, when I snap my fingers, you will come back to us. 1, 2, 3. And Jessie comes back. What happened? Jessie asked. The group went crazy recounting like all the things that had happened. They're like, you had no idea you did a squat, you did push-ups. And she's like, no, what are you talking about? She didn't believe them. Now, Connor, he was like, okay, I volunteer because I still think you're BS. Brendan's like, okay, I want you to lay down. Same process. Just let your mind go blank. And I'm going to have you start counting from A to Z. He lays down on the ground, palms facing up, and he began to go through the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then all of a sudden, what are you guys doing? Coming from the edge of the field that they were in.
Party pooper can't count for.
He hears from behind him the pastor of the camp coming up to the group. I guess someone had told him that they were out trying to hypnotize each other in the field. The pastor's like, you guys can't be doing this, and you actually shouldn't be doing these kinds of things anyways. So Brendan apologized. He promised it wouldn't happen again. And the pastor then took Connor aside. And he's like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I didn't believe that stuff would work anyways. We're good. And the pastor's just like, it's a dangerous business, allowing something else to enter your body.
Now, the pastor would know something about entering into somebody else's body, dude.
He was probably referring to that too. On a deeper level. Anyways, Connor wasn't sure what he was talking about at that time, so he hadn't been a victim yet. But he blew it off, and he looked at Brandon, and he's like, I knew that crap was fake. What are you guys talking about? Jesse must have been faking it. And then everyone looked at him a little confused, everyone in the group. And they're like, dude, you didn't get past A. You said A over and over again until the pastor came up and got us. And Connor all of a sudden freezes, just scared out of his mind, now not sure what was even happening or if it was real or not. Now,
Time skip for him?
yeah, well, time skip or what he thought was happening wasn't real.
Yeah.
Because he felt himself counting through the ABCs, and everyone else in the group said that he only made it to A. After he laid down, he was instantly hypnotized. Now, to no surprise, Connor said he had nightmares that woke him up every half hour that night.
Jeez.
Then, at one point in the middle of the night, he woke up, and you guessed it, he said it was 3 a.m. And at this time, he woke up soaking wet, drenched in sweat. He sat up and looked around him, and he grabbed the Bible that was next to him. He looked at it, and somehow it was completely dry, or he was completely dry again. So he's not sure what happened that night, but whatever it was, the pastor interrupted it. And if he hadn't, he doesn't know what would have happened past that. And that's Connor's story. Little spooky camp horror.
That's a great party trick, dude.
Being able to hypnotize people.
Being able to hypnotize people. That's so funny how he just got away with it. If it wasn't for those meddling pastors.
Those meddling pastors.
Those meddling adults.
Or what if everyone else was in on it too? You didn't get past A.
That is weird.
Yeah, that's a great party trick to learn. Where do you go to learn that?
Yeah, hypnotizing school,
It's probably a YouTube tutorial,
Hogwarts,
a wiki
School of Witchcraft and
a
Wizardry,
master class.
all of the above.
I remember when
I don't know.
I remember when I was a kid, and like back then there was no laws on the internet. I don't know if you remember, but
No, LimeWire was the thing. No laws.
there were no laws as far as like you just kind of wandered. The same way you just like take a walk and just go wherever you feel like. I mean, I guess you can do that now, but like you have a sense of like morality and direction now, even digitally. Like, I probably shouldn't be on this.
I probably shouldn't click that link.
Or like, I know this is sketchy. Yeah. But back then it was all new technology.
Nobody was
so
expecting that.
it was like, I just consumed what was given to me.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty common for millennials being the generation that had no technology
and then went
into technology.
Yeah.
But pretty common for millennials who like use the internet pretty heavily to come across like beheadings. I remember being like 12 and looking at came across a beheading video.
Oh my gosh.
And like a Colombian necktie video, which is where they like slit your throat and then pull your tongue out of your throat. I remember watching that. I was like,
is this real?
I was just like on CartoonNetwork.com playing like some Powerpuff Girls snowboarding game.
There are hot moms in your area. Clicks the link.
It's crazy. No, but I remember going back to like hypnotizing school or looking on not school, but like the websites. I remember finding on that same computer a website on how to like learn telepathy and how to move objects with your mind. And I remember I printed it out.
Where is it now, bro?
I printed out the instructions and I sat in my yard and I read it and I put it down. I sat cross-legged and I said, grab 2 smooth stones, the smoothest stones you could find, and place them in front of you. And I remember looking through my yard and I found them and I put them down in front of me and I sat crisscross. It says, now close your eyes and relax and go into an empty space where nothing exists. And when nothing exists, materialize the 2 stones in your mind and then move them in your mind. Visualize them just moving side to side, up and down. And I did that for like a half an hour. And then I opened my eyes and I was like, damn, I am a loser.
I just spent a half hour trying to move some stones with my mind.
This thing did not work. So, and Charles just said in the chat that he used to practice telepathy in Sacrament because he was so bored.
Just after watching
that was in
Matilda,
Sacrament, dude. I was just an only child for a bit. So,
oh gosh.
But yeah. So, great party trick, dude.
Learn to hypnotize or use telepathy. Either is going to be a great party trick.
Great party trick.
What's your party trick?
My party trick?
You just whip it out and do a helicopter?
No. I don't think I have a cool party trick. Yeah, I don't think I have one.
Okay.
I was trying to think. I don't think I have any cool talents.
Damn, that sounds depressing.
Yeah,
he's probably just like holding out, dude.
Honestly, though,
I don't.
Tristan lives a secret life that he signed an NDA for.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. Otherwise, have to kill you.
Oh shit.
Well, I was actually looking at one of the comments. He kind of told a story that reminded me of a quick one. If you're okay with me telling it,
Go for it.
So his was, he said he went to a summer camp and their counselor told a scary story called the China doll. He doesn't remember how the story went, but every time he said China doll, the bathroom door in the cabin would slightly open and it made him cry. He made his dad drive 2 hours to come pick him up that night. And 10 years later, he found out that the counselor had a string tied to the door.
Oh, damn. That's good. That would haunt me forever, just like him. So.
Well, I was thinking about when I was a kid, I went and was playing like night games at like my best friend's house, and he lived like seriously just like down the street in a cul-de-sac, and we were just playing like capture the flag, sardines, and it was sweet because his house was in a cul-de-sac and none of the backyards had fences.
Oh, that is sick.
It was like just a giant circle of connecting backyards. So, and all the parents like loved having like the kids play in the yards. So there was no like parents that were Karens like yelling at you like, get out of my yard. It was like they'd come and bring out like treats or water. And anyways, so we were playing some game and then it was probably like, I don't know, 10:30 or 11, which seemed like super late for me when I was younger.
Yeah.
And we had gone inside and then my friend's older brother, we were playing like PlayStation or something. And he comes over and he's all like, dude, have you heard about the old lady that goes around our neighborhood and she slashes little boys' tires on their bikes? And I was like, no. He's like, yeah. And they said she's out tonight. And I was like, I rode my bike here. And so like in my 10-year-old mind, I'm like, I'm screwed.
This lady is.
Yeah.
She's behind me right now.
So he's like, yeah. And they target like kids that were out being loud and you were just out there playing night games. So I'm sure she's out there slashing your tire right now. Yeah. And I was like, oh no. So I looked out and my bike was under like a street lamp.
Oh,
and so dude. I'm like, there's no way I can go out to that. So I like,
this is cinematic, dude.
Yeah, I was like, I can't go out to that bike. And so I told my friend's mom, I was like, can I call my dad real quick? She's like, sure. So I get the phone. I'm like, Dad, can you come pick me up? Apparently there's an old lady that's slashing bike tires in our neighborhood. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, they said it's on the news and I'm too scared to ride my bike home. And so he's
he was like, what are you talking about? I'm not your dad.
Oh, shoot. And so he's like, I'm not going to get in my truck and drive like 10 seconds to pick you up. And I was like, I can't do it. And I started crying. I was like, there's no way I can bike home. Anyways, long story short, he came and picked me up, and I was like traumatized.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know, a couple of weeks later, my friend's brother was like, dude, I was just joking with you. Like, I feel bad that you made your dad come get me. And I was like, bro, my dad was so mad at me for just like at 11:30 at night, like making him drive like 10 seconds to pick me up. But as a kid, I was like scared that really an old lady was going to stab me.
Yeah.
That would be terrifying though.
But I don't know. I was just thinking about like, you know, when you're a little kid, like things that don't scare you as much now, or like you can like rationalize, but as a kid, you're like that's the scariest thing.
Yeah.
100%.
My buddy growing up, John Hansen, his house was right next to this big pond. The pond was on the side of the road, kind of down in a trench a little bit. So the road would kind of go over this there was a tunnel underneath meant to be kind of like a spillway into the pond from the mountains.
Oh, okay.
So you could go into the tunnel. It's a pretty big tube. And we would go all the way down to the pond. We'd play this game. He started, when I first hung out with him, the story he told is there's somebody who lives in the water. If you laugh, they'll get upset and they'll try to steal whoever is closest to the water.
They'll just steal you.
He would take friends, newcomers. He would take groups of friends down there, and when you get to the water at the end of the tunnel, where the only way out is back the other way or through the water and up the hill to the road, he would tell this story at the water, and then we'd be like, "Oh, that's crazy," and then he'd look at us and smile, and he'd go. And start laughing, and then we would scream and run, and we were so scared to like look back because the slowest person, aka me, like would be the last kid would be dragged back or just be in the water, and you would just see a splash and no person, and one of you were missing. Is what we thought, and then
That's terrifying though.
super fun.
Dude,
John Hansen's dad built a Civil War cannon, and I think I've talked about this before. But every hour on New Year's Eve, he'd shoot the cannon.
Oh yeah.
And I could hear it through the neighborhoods. Like, and I lived maybe maybe a mile away. Yeah, and it would like knock pictures off the wall, set off car alarms and stuff. But those were the Hansens.
That's dope though.
The Hansens.
Yeah.
Legendary stories.
Well, I have one more.
Let's go, boy.
This story is actually just going to be for our patrons though.
Darn.
So if
Yikes.
you're not a patron, go to
If you're not a
patreon.com.
Yikes.
Yikes.
You ain't
Yikes.
going to hear this story. Patreon.com/3am pod. For everyone else, we'll see you later. That's it for me. Welcome back, everybody else who's not a patron. And now we're going to pass it off to DJ.
Still yikes.
Let's go.
Okay. So this comes from a listener. This comes from Tim.
Shout out.
So Tim grew up as a Slavic Christian and says specifically the idea of spirituality in life is a fact for us. It might also be partially due to my great-grandmother dabbling in witchcraft and being a fortune teller back in Ukraine.
Casual,
Dude. The casual Ukrainian fortune teller. He goes on saying that there's a lot of stories that she has, but I think Tim says, I believe that when you talk about things,
you kind of give them power and bring them about.
Yeah, you bring them about. So I'm very particular with who I share stories with. The story that I'm sharing with you guys isn't going to be directly related to her, but just things in spirituality. I would assume paranormal, since it's adjacent, isn't foreign to me or my family. But growing up, Tim's father bought 33 acres of wooded land in the north side of Washington.
Oh, that's
Beautiful.
sick.
Beautiful pride.
landscape.
So they built a house. He said it was a pretty big house. We had the space for it, about 40 to 4,500 square feet. And big first floor. All the bedrooms were on the second floor except for one was on the first floor. He goes into the details of like who stayed where, but what was most important was everyone got their own room except for him and his two younger brothers. They got a large room, and then eventually they divided it and they got their own. But for a while, it was them three in this room. And the way they were situated was they had 3 separate beds, and Tim's bed was right up against the big window. And he said, this window to me was magical because I could look out and see our land, the expansive yard. A ton of it was cleared out, and then it would go to the tree line. And I could see that, and it was beautiful. It was magical, except for one time. I was sleeping facing the window, and waking up, I could see the yard in the dark. I could see the tree line, kind of like the silhouette of it all. And something feels off, and I'm just looking out the window when all of a sudden, a man and his face comes right in front of me in the window. And he has a creepy smile on his face. It freaked me out. I ran out of the room. And for the longest time, that's all I really remember. A few years later, we sold the house, sold the land. We moved about 40 minutes south. I was in the 3rd grade. And I was having one of those dreams where it's a nightmare. I'm terrified. I can't remember exactly what's happening or why I was terrified, but I was terrified in my dream. And I had that for a few nights. And every time I had that dream, it got a little more vivid. And I would see that same face that I saw in the window that one night in our house that my dad built. That persisted for a while and then stopped. And then I also kind of forgot about that. Years later, we had a family gathering, and someone was asking, does anybody have any scary stories? And everything started flooding back to me. And I told them the 2 stories, how I was in my room, I had the bed next to the big window that looked over the property, and a man came in front of the window. Only the glass was separating us. And he was smiling at me. I forgot about that. I saw that man again in my dreams, consecutively for, a few nights or weeks in a row. And then until they stopped, and then I had also forgotten about that. But freaky. My mom is at this family gathering. She's listening to these stories. She says, I remember that night where you ran out of your room and you were scared. And up to that point, he thought he was the only one who had experienced that. He says, what was your experience that night? She said, well, I remember looking for you that night because we couldn't find you. We looked everywhere. We looked through the whole house. We looked outside, went back inside the house, and you were curled up in one of the bathrooms in the bathtub. But you were locked inside that bathroom, and we didn't end up finding you until morning. I guess it took them all night to find him. I don't think she had the context of him seeing the man, but I guess they lined up those experiences where he ran out, and hid in the bathroom, or got in the bathroom somehow, and then his mom found him. Anyway, so after the mom lines up those stories, one of the cousins asked him can you tell me what this man looked like? And he starts describing it or thinking about it, and he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna try searching it. And he ends up searching man's face in your dreams. And he said, apparently this is a phenomenon similar to Hat Man, and so many people have seen this man's face in their dreams. And I have the picture if you want to bring it up.
I hate this so much, dude.
I think it's internet. Let's try it. That's the one.
You know how you had this pulled up on your screen and I said, dude, that guy looks so familiar? Did you hear me when I said that earlier,
No,
bro?
no, because I'm a bad listener.
Do you want to hear something even creepier?
What's up?
In the chat said he had the same experience as a child. He saw a face in the corner of his window next to his bed and 2 taps. Didn't sleep in his room for a year and started sleepwalking. And then after you said the mom found him in the bathtub. He said, my parents used to find me in our basement. This is creepy AF.
Oh. So a lot of kids are having this same experience, sounds like.
Yikes.
Yeah. So if you're not watching, if you're just listening to the podcast, we have the picture up. I don't know how many people have seen this man in their dreams.
I think it's my great uncle, dude.
Probably gonna see
On my
him in my
mom's
dreams
side.
tonight.
Wait, you were saying, so you have?
I don't think I have, but he looks familiar.
Hmm.
Because I don't have any recollection of seeing anybody outside a window or like having that dream or anything. But when you pulled up the picture, I was like, man, that guy looks super familiar. Like maybe I've seen a story like similar to this somewhere out online somewhere.
I know I've seen this picture before. I haven't had like a personal experience with this. Mountain Witch said the creepiest, this is the creepiest. I'm disturbed. My dad built our house too. Same person who was found in their basement.
Yeah.
That was Tim's story. But yeah, that's a thing. Not a thing with me. I don't know with our listeners, but enough where that picture is circulated online and people have been like, yeah, I've seen this man in my dreams for
That's
sure.
creepy, dude. Don't like it.
So short, sweet
Be
story.
careful of eyebrows, dude.
Tim, I would love to hear, he got them Frida Kahlo eyebrows.
It's the smile that's kind of disturbing.
The Mona Lisa smile.
Yeah.
Tim, I'd love to hear about your fortune-telling Ukrainian grandmother. Even if it's not the stories, if you don't want to get into it, just like what her life was like. That sounds fascinating to me. So let us know. Charles in chat said, if I see this dude tonight, I'll be pissed.
Just don't look out the window. Don't acknowledge it.
Rightfully so.
You're just going to not give it power.
Anyway, yeah, that's my story I have tonight.
That's creepy, dude.
Okay. Y'all got anything?
I'm good.
I got nothing.
I think that does it for us tonight.
That's it.
Y'all, especially people in chat. It's good to see y'all. This was fun, hanging out. One thing we talked about was we compare ourselves a lot. Even though we have a great audience, we have a great listener base, and a lot of you guys have become friends to us, even from afar. Even with all of that, a lot of times we'll compare ourselves to some of our favorite podcasters, and those people are living like unreal lives. Like it's not reality. It's not what everyone else experiences. They have money, they have resources where they're traveling all the time, shaking hands with big people. We have our normal 9-to-5s, just like most people, the general populace. So we compare ourselves unfairly. It's the thief of joy, as we all know, because sometimes we feel like we have to, come up with stimulating content. And when we compare ourselves to people who are stimulated by unrealistic things, it pales in comparison. And obviously, we don't get to have the same experiences. So we're talking like when we go on breaks like these, sometimes it's easier to get back into the podcast because we have more to share about in the month that we didn't record than like doing something consistent. Not that we're not going to do anything consistent anymore, even though we haven't been recently. But anyway, why am I sharing that? I guess I'm just grateful for people who stick around, even though we ourselves haven't been as around.
You the real MVPs.
And I know you guys understand that we all have lives. So thanks for bearing with us, especially if you support us monetarily, which thank you for doing that out of the goodness of your hearts. I hope this doesn't get repetitive. We try to give our thanks as much as possible. Yeah, sorry if that gets repetitive, but it's hard for me to not say thank you when people support us the way they do. And we might not meet expectations, I don't know, or record as much as we'd like, but
we're trying. We are.
Anyway.
So shout out to everyone who showed up, everyone who supports us. I'm with you.
Yeah.
You guys are the best.
Okay. We love y'all. We hope to see you guys and talk to you guys and do this again sooner than later. And until next time, trust your gut, watch your back.
Be careful out there.
For Charlie, bye, love you, be safe.
Wow.
Hey.
There you go.
Hey, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of 3 a.m. If you want to support us, visit our Patreon where patrons have access to exclusive content. If you're not able to support us monetarily, don't worry. This episode is on us. You can still rate and review us on whatever platform you listen to us on. It really does go a long way. You can also follow us on social media. Our handle everywhere, including Patreon, is the 3 a.m. pod. Finally, do you have any scary stories? If so, submit them to our website, the3ampodcast.com. We love any audio or visual aids that can help bring your stories to life. So file uploads are welcome with your written submissions. We're anxious and excited to hear from you.